I'm Hind Mandoor, PhD student at Lancaster University, UK. I'm sponsored by both the Egyptian and the British governments via Newton Musharrafa Fund and supervised by Professor Indod and Elizabeth Carmo Silva. At first, I'd like to thank the British Council for inviting me to participate in World Day to combat desertification and drought. And it is really an honor that you see my research would be beneficial in solving drought issues or dealing with drought issues. My research here at Lancaster University is focused on improving faba bean varieties to be less susceptible to unfavorable conditions, particularly water deficit. As most of you know, faba bean is one of the most vital or essential crops in Egypt. It is the main dish on breakfast table for most of the Egyptians every morning, and I miss it so much because of its high nutritional value, high protein content, carbohydrates, minerals, etc., which makes it one of the best solutions for malnutrition in the developing countries. Also, it has some biological benefits to the coping systems or to the environments where, like most other legumes, it is symbiotic with nodule-forming bacteria that can fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and consequently save fertilizers to the upcoming crops. However, this cute crop faces so many troubles in Egypt where its productivity and cultivated area have been declined by about 55% over the last 10 years. That is mainly due to the effects of biotic and abiotic stresses. Biotic stresses are the stresses the plant face due to biological factors or microorganisms like diseases, in contrast to abiotic stresses, which are caused due to climate change factors or atmospheric factors. And there are so many like drought, flooding, heat, cold, chilling, etc. My main interest here is drought because faba bean is considered to be sensitive to drought. So it needs to be hydrated all the time, and as most of you are aware that Egypt has so many issues with water supplies, particularly with the new mega dam being built by Ethiopia, which is about to spark a war in the region. So the challenge now is we don't have enough water supplies, but we do need to have faba beans. So the ideal solution or the best solution is to improve the existing varieties for water use efficiency, to make good use of water, to use less amounts of water and give the same productivity. And if we succeeded in that, and by saying we, I don't mean my supervisor and I mean the Egyptian researchers, if we succeeded in improving the vital crops in Egypt like wheat, rice, etc. for water use efficiency, this will help a lot in solving food security problems we are facing nowadays. So what I'm actually doing here at Lancaster University, I have 170 genotypes of faba bean, which is a very large population, and my main object is to identify their genetic variation in transpiration response to VPD, vapor pressure deficit. Another kind of abiotic stresses, it is the difference between vapor pressure in the air and the maximum vapor pressure the air can hold when it is saturated. In other words, it is the difference between vapor pressure in the leaf and the surrounding atmosphere. It is a combination effect between temperature and relative humidity. Normally, plants respond to high VPD by increasing their transpiration. From my explanation, you can expect that the relationship between VPD and transpiration should be linear, and this is logic, where high VPD causes high transpiration and vice versa. But sometimes the plant acts against the logic and limits its transpiration despite being exposed to high VPD, where it increases its transpiration by increasing VPD till a point, and after this point there is no further increase in transpiration. Sometimes it declines. And this is what I'm looking for, limited transpiration response under high VPD. because this works as a water conservation strategy. It can save water for the most critical periods like flowering and grain filling. And on the other hand, it doesn't have any negative impact on the final output or on the productivity, based on a simulation study conducted in the USA on wheat, where they found that limited transpiration response under high VBD caused a penalty or an increase of about 75% in the population. So it is very promising trait. So far I have screened almost half of my population, and the initial data are very promising, where almost 95% of the genotypes showed limitation in its transpiration under high VBD, and this is very, very, very promising, because these genotypes could be easily integrated with the Egyptian cultivars as great sources for drought tolerance. And by achieving this object, I can say that I have achieved the applicable one, or the object that can be applied in the field. But my next object, or my second question, is to figure out why this response happens. What causes this response? What are the physiological mechanisms behind this response? And to do so, I measure hydraulic conductance at different plant parts, and do hormone analysis, abscisic acid, via radioimmune assay. And ultimately, I will have to locate the genes responsible for the traits. Responsible for the trait along the faba being chromosome, and I will do so via Q-tail analysis. So this is what I'm actually doing and what I'm planning to do. And if you wanna anything in details, you are welcome to contact me at h.mandoor@lancaster.ac.uk. Thanks again for the invitation. Stay safe, and bye bye.